I spoke to Coinbase co-founder and CEO Brian Armstrong in an exclusive interview, and I asked him what he thought about Peter Thiel's comments recently, in which he said even though he's a Bitcoin maximalist, he wonders if at this point Bitcoin should also be thought of in part as a Chinese financial weapon against the U.S. Here's what Brian had to say.
When I saw it, what I assumed he meant is, I think, actually a good point, which is that China has really embraced cryptocurrency and blockchain in a big way, starting from about 6 years ago or so. They made it one of their primary initiatives. And China has a central bank digital currency that is live out there in China. People are actually using it. They're substantially far ahead. And I think this is an important point that many in the US government have not fully internalized. The US government should also have a central bank digital currency based on the dollar. And I believe other countries around the world should as well. In fact, every major country is probably going to have a central bank digital currency in the near future, is my prediction.
We also discussed another regulatory risk for crypto, which is that governments may very well want to maintain control over their own currency, which has been a big question about whether it could ultimately hamper the growth of crypto.
A lot of central banks around the world, by the way, now are looking at creating central bank digital currencies, right? And we're supportive of those efforts, and we're happy to help governments around the world who want to create those as well. I'll make an analogy to kind of back to the internet, right? I think when the internet first came out, a lot of governments were a little nervous about it. They were sort of asking, hey, does this kind of prevent us from having control over how communication happens? And some countries, China most famously created the Great Firewall of China and really tried to clamp down on it. They also, by the way, have really strict currency controls. But most places in the free world, they embraced the internet after some trepidation, and it turned out to be a really huge advantage for the for the country, because of all the new companies that got created there, some of the largest companies in the world now. And I think the same thing's going to happen with cryptocurrency. You could make an analogy. It's like we have paper mail in the US, but we also have email. And some people, when email first came out, they thought, hey, email's going to completely replace paper mail. Well, that didn't turn out to be the case. We end up having both. In fact, there's more paper mail sent today than there was 10 years ago. And so I think the crypto economy is largely going to be seen as a complementary thing to the traditional economy. And governments that embrace it are going to stand to benefit from it enormously, along with all of their citizens.